Is that still that Brian Brazzi interview with Joe?
Yeah.
I gotta find a different cord for my
All right, guys.
You want to join me?
I'm gonna jump in the shower. I look
Okay, go ahead.
crazy.
That's fine.
Yeah, I might jump in when I get back out of the shower,
Sure.
and then I can give an update on these California bills if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But I'll wait for you to cue me on.
All right. Hey, everyone. Alex here. I'm with Simon. We're probably going to be doing a little bit of activism today at some point. Right now, I wanted to address a couple things that have been going on. Rumors, why I left the 1776 restoration movement, why I am not affiliating with them or the People's Convoy. So we're going to go to the screen share here and we'll explain it as I go. First off, before we do that, I want to explain to you what I've been up to, okay? And also some lies from Chris Marston. And I'm going to read you the email that I built for blasting attorneys and lawyers, trying to get them on board. Look, y'all, this email right here is crazy. We were gonna do like a media blast podcast for attorneys and lawyers. This was like the actual media blast. We created it so that there's an actual like clickable link where you can click this and you can download it, right, and copy paste whatever you wanted to do. That's the contact info, right, and then the text document, right. I was not going to be posting this unless like, I had us all ready to go. This is all ready to go. Just clickable link, and you can copy paste this stuff. This is how we were going to do it, or how I was going to do it, right? So I tell y'all, I've been getting to work. I have been getting to work. My ideas are solid. Here's what I wrote. And mind you, this is not updated from when the People's Convoy and AFCLF were a part of the plan. All right. So we were going to put "Dear to be determined," right, and then we would put the law firm, right. I am Alex Glasgow from Ohio, representing myself and the People's Convoy. The People's Convoy and AFCLF are looking for 5 to 10 lawyers, attorneys whom practice, but not limited to criminal, constitutional, labor, and civil law at a state and federal level. Federal to assist in filing lawsuit on the current administration and all responsible for mandate response to COVID-19, along with the violation of many constitutional rights for the suppression of doctors and regular citizens to speak out. At the state level, we want attorneys and lawyers that practice labor and employment law to lay groundwork for all states to address businesses that violated employees' rights either through acting under Federal Executive Order 14042 or religious and medical discrimination and retaliation. We are currently demanding the end of Emergency Powers Act, the 1976 National Emergencies Act, and all mandates, and the state of emergency, and CMS mandates, border mandates, and digital ID, and all mandates. Let freedom reign, baby. That is REIGN. You know how we do it over here. This is an urgent notification letter requesting assistance in ending the state of emergency. Instead of color of law, we are focused on bringing constitutional law to the forefront of the COVID response, as well as labor, civil, and many other applicable law practices. We are calling on all patriots that practice these types of law to join the fight in restoring the power of the people. Look, y'all, first off, pause. Step out of your comfort zone. I have many times. And these lawyers and attorneys and paralegals need to do the same. As people have unalienable and inalienable rights that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Declaration of Independence. We the people would love your help. If you feel obligated to join the fight for freedom, we are currently on a convoy to raise awareness on the bills California is trying to make law and would like to get the ball rolling to start these lawsuits for when we return to the DC area. Here are a few things that we are looking at addressing in a legislative, judicial, and constitutional manner. Title 241, Conspiracy to Rights. U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 6, Treason. Okay, I made these short because I look, this email is huge. Okay, I even condensed it right here. There was a lot. I explained all of these as well, but we're gonna read through what I have, the revised version. Okay. Title 241, Conspiracy to Rights, Conspiracy Against Rights. U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 6, Treason. Article 1, Section 8, Authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. Article 2, Section 1, due to the response of COVID via the mandates, the President and the Vice President have demonstrated the inability to lead this country by breaking their oath or affirmation by failing to protect and violating constitutional rights and domestically terrorizing our citizens. DHS Bulletin, Summary of Terrorism Threat to the U.S. Homeland, issued February 7th as reference. Article 2, Section 4, Treason and Bribery for Incentives. Article 3, Section 1, OSHA mandates and the Northern Border mandates have not been vested by Congress. Article 3, Section 3, Treason for giving aid and funding to foreign counterparts and gain of function research and comfort for them for helping enemies of the people suppress the origins of COVID-19 and the science behind effectiveness of mass and experimental, quote, vaccines, end quote. Article 4, Section 4, failure to protect against bodily invasion and on application of legislator or of the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. Almost the entire Bill of Rights. Title 242, Deprivation of Rights. Refer to the examples listed above. Violations of the Fourth Amendment to be secure in our persons, places, papers, and effects. Forced masking and vaccinations requirement infringe on our ability to make money. The Fifth Amendment, no property shall be taken without compensation. Our body is our property. And not only that, our body is our most sacred home. It's the first thing we own when we come into this world. Our parents are our guardians. They're not our owners. Okay? When you're being penetrated against your will to keep your job, that is medical rape. Moving on. USC 18, Title 2331, Domestic Terrorism, to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. Now, when we talk about medical rape, right, you all have heard me talk about Harvey Weinstein with, he got convicted of rape for coercing girls to have sex with him to keep their job in Hollywood. Okay, it's no different than the government coercing you to get penetrated with a needle to keep your job in society. To influence the policy, right here, to influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. Let me blow this up a little bit more for y'all. Y'all can probably read this a little better if I do that. All right. Excuse me. Is that where I was? I think we're on US 2331. Yes, okay. To influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion, to affect the conduct of a government by mass destruction or even kidnapping our persons by forceful, unlawful, or illegal imposition of vaccine mandates. Perverse incentive, the Cobra effect. Some of y'all have heard me talk about that. That is 18 U.S. Code 666. That is two 666s. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals what? This is incentives for compliance or state schools that will lose federal funding, incentives for a positive COVID test, incentives for a person on a ventilator, incentives for a death certificate. You can expand this into police departments and other areas of our society as well. So probably at least 8 different incentives for COVID-19 that I could come up with off of the top of my head. This isn't old. I could update this after I even thought about it even further. Anyhow, First Amendment, freedom of speech, doctors, press, 2 violations between speech and freedom of press, businesses, private citizens, lawyers and attorneys, and the former president of the United States have all violated this right. As our bodies are our most, Third Amendment, as our bodies are our most sacred home, forcible housing of military personnel, or in this case the authority military operates under, as we consider this domestic terrorism to enter our home unlawfully and illegally with a vaccine we cannot remove from our home. Again, our bodies are our most sacred home. Fourth Amendment, the right to be secure in their persons. Coercion to violate the ownership of our bodies, being required to test for COVID-19 is an unlawful and illegal search, and forcing the vaccine is unlawful and illegal seizure of our bodies, as we cannot remove the vaccine or participate in society as a free citizen. Our property, my body is my property, being taken for public use without just compensation. Children are the property of their parents and guard these bodies until they are 18. Allowing children to receive vaccination without parental consent is a trespass against parents' property. Also, restrictions on liberty to travel via blocking exits on Interstate 495. Ninth Amendment, the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights, unalienable and inalienable, shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Okay? Me stepping on our rights. The power is not delegated to the United States. In this instance, the unlawful response to COVID-19, we demand those powers be reserved to the people, and the government has failed to protect our Constitution and constitutional rights. This 10th Amendment here, this is what y'all heard me talk about the other day with the lesser magistrate doctrine. Okay? Right? The federal government fails to adhere to our rights, it gets passed down to states. If the states fail to adhere to our rights, it gets passed down to we, the people. Again, I added quick definitions of these as well. I tried to keep this as short as possible, but the violations of our rights is a long list, as you can see. Fraud in the factum inducement, negligent misrepresentation, due to the right to be secure in our persons, places, and beings. Well, I've been so involved in this, I forgot about my mic. Anywho, due to our right to be secure in our persons, fraud at a state level and employment levels has occurred. All of these agencies know that the EUA or experimental vaccines are being forcefully imposed. That's experimental vaccines being forcibly imposed, or employees are fired, opportunities lost due to not consenting to be medically raped with an experimental vaccine. The effectiveness of masks and your ability to operate in society without a mask or vaccine, inducement, incentives for keeping businesses open. Okay. Eighth Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment, death, permanent health issues, loss of income and career, slander from the media, government agencies, and private citizen falls in line with negligent misrepresentation / fraud in the factum. Religious, medical, political discrimination, as well as retaliation, all the peoples denied employment or fired for adhering to our constitutional rights in the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. Through reading the Constitution, you will read things like a citizen will not be denied or abridged by sex, age, religion, and race. But here the American people are being denied and abridged for mask and vaccination status. This is modern segregation, tyranny, medical rape, and domestic terrorism, and we the people demand it stop. As authority for mandates were drawn unlawfully and unconstitutionally via executive orders and color of law, really, we need the skill set of lawyers and attorneys and paralegals. This could be updated. This is old. I submitted this April 5th on my birthday. April 5th right here. Right there. Anyways, so where was I? Boom, right here. Yeah. As authority for these mandates were drawn unlawfully and unconstitutionally via executive orders and color of law, we need the skill set of lawyers, attorneys, and paralegals to help us fight this in court. We are looking for 5 to 10 lawyers and attorneys and paralegals, forming teams to defend retaliation and discrimination in labor law, as well as a team in civil law or torts to defend Americans on the basis of contract law when asking for senators' response to ending the emergency powers and all other responses from public servants, contractual agreement under notice and opportunity, equity, civil law regarding our property as our bodies are our most sacred homes, family relations as the government is forcing vaccines and masks, violating the parents' authorization, and physical injury to anyone that has been hurt or lost their life due to vaccines. Last but not least, for the many, many reasons stated in above paragraphs, we need more lawyers, attorneys, and paralegals to defend our unalienable and inalienable constitutional rights at a federal level. Essentially, we're looking for a coalition of lawyers and attorneys and paralegals to hold these tyrants accountable. Our demands are not limited to the contents of this email, but to be discussed further. We are also looking for a lawyer to sit down in a booth and empower the people with knowledge on how to fight back against this tyrannical overreach. Knowledge is power. In order to empower or restore power to the people, we must give them the knowledge to do so. I am fighting this pro bono. We ask for your response in considering to join our patriotic fight on a pro bono basis, as money can cause a conflict of interest. We ask you join this fight out of the kindness of your heart, knowing the dire need for accountability. We understand that filing lawsuits without money involved, we are not as susceptible to the vulnerability of the government exploiting our funds, trying to drown us out. I'll just say we the people salute you and are anxious for your support. And then, of course, right now, let me show you. Chris Marston has proofread this a few times. Okay. Look, this is Chris Marston's email. He was acting like he was a lawyer. But yeah, he's just in charge of the finances. And you know what ended up happening? Hold on, let me just show you a little bit more here. I just want to show you guys his emails. Just so you guys know that I was in contact with Chris Marston. Okay, trying to get something involved and get more help for lawyers and attorneys. And Mike Mattingly tried to get Tony and their team over in Santa Cruz County to help get legal representation, a legal plan of action, and utilize all the tools necessary to fight back against this medical response to COVID-19. Now, that being said, okay, now mind you, we could put these links in here, right? We could change these to attorneys and lawyers, right? These are the ideas, y'all. Like, I'm not kidding when I say I go to work, okay, and that my ideas are solid. All right. I had to explain to Santa what the heck the 10th Amendment was. I asked Marcus and other organizers like Scott, what legal authority, what grounds, what protections we had under the Constitution to go in and protest in D.C. They didn't have any answers. They had no clue. They hadn't even looked into it. From the judging by the answers that I got, they had no articulable knowledge on any of our rights and what rights we would be standing